Good evening, everyone. I am delighted to fill in for our normal host, who has been Lloyd Campbell, and he's helping us behind the scenes tonight. So thank you for that, Lloyd. And as you all know, this is our monthly membership webinar that comes on the third Tuesday of the month. And we are going to ask you to do us a favor. We are going to switch formats. So before our next one in February, you're going to get an email. And if you will re-register, then you will get to continue for the rest of this year. And we appreciate you doing that. And always remember to share this opportunity with your club members or others in your district. And we want to have as many watchers as we can. And it is recorded, so you can come back and watch it later if you go to the Zone website. So we always want you to remember that. And we always want to remind you it's a webinar format. So if you have questions, we will be monitoring the Q&A. So rather than the chat, if you have questions, try to put them in that Q&A at the bottom, and we will monitor those. And hopefully after our wonderful panelists that are going to be sharing information with you tonight, at the end, they can come back and answer some of those questions, or we'll try to respond as we go through the night. So we have a new also moderator for tonight. And Addie is here with us tonight. We're very thankful to have him. He was a classmate of Lloyd's and mine during our DG year, and you are in for a treat. Let me tell you, he is going to do a great job, and we're excited to have you, Addie. So thank you for being with us tonight. So we are going to start off with a poll question from our last webinar. If you remember December, back before the holidays, right? We had a hosting impactful workshops for club and member needs was our topic. So we're going to start with our first poll question here. So after viewing the December webinar on hosting impactful workshops for club and member needs, have you adjusted your format for upcoming workshops or planned a workshop based on insight gained, or have plans to do so? If you'll please select an option there. And then we are going to turn this over to Addie. So I am going to let you take it away, Addie.
Well, thank you, Mindy. Past district governor and classmate. What a wonderful year we had.
Yeah, poll results there.
Yes, thank you. It's good to be here with you today. So our topic today is planning engaging activities outside of your regular meetings and fundraisers. So planning engaging activities beyond meetings and fundraisers. We have 4 panelists with us who are going to share their experiences and expertise. Starting out, we will have, well, let me first talk about the polls before we dive back into that. So here are the polls. Well, this is good. 15%, no, 28% of you say that yes, after viewing the December webinar, you've actually adjusted your format and done for workshops and planned a workshop based on insight gained. So we had 28% that said yes, 19% no, and 54% did not see the webinar. So there's good and bad in that. The good news is there are quite a few of you who weren't here the last time I've joined us. So welcome to those who have just joined us. So we'll move on. Please close the poll. And I will now introduce our first panelist for today's topic. So we have Jeff Kingsbury, who is from the Rapid City Rushmore Rotary Club, South Dakota. Please welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Addie. So as Addie said, I'm Jeff Kingsbury. I'm in the Rapid City Rushmore Rotary Club in District 5610. And I love Rotary. I absolutely love it. So we do a significant number of activities that are outside of our fundraisers or our meetings. Some of the activities we do, we combine with fundraising opportunity for usually for Polio Plus. So the kinds of things that we do. When I joined Rotary, I was looking for, I've been in this club for 3 years and I was in a different club in Washington State before that, but I was looking for networking opportunities. And I learned through participating in Rotary that service is the key. So, and then of course I started getting involved in various activities, and I just absolutely love Rotary. In fact, I moved to Rapid City 3 years ago, and my fellow Rotarians are in fact my best social circle. I love them, and I love going to meetings and seeing all of their faces every week and interfacing with them. So the kinds of things that we routinely do, once a year, we do in conjunction with the county, I believe, uh, a highway cleanup. And it sounds like a horrible, horrible thing. It's actually very, very fun. We participate once a month in putting together food boxes for those who are dealing with food insecurity for Feeding South Dakota, and then we distribute those as well. We have a strong relationship with the Rapid City Alternative High School, Alternative Academy, and we have various activities that we do with them. We just awarded um, 5 monetary awards to students there who participate twice a year in the Rotary essay contest. And it is thrilling to see those young people, um, receive those awards and receive recognition for their fine schoolwork and in fact, the work that they do writing. We also do a middle school essay contest, and Rotarians as a whole are invited to go to the school of the winner and help present that award. And that's was very, very nice. Once a month, we all serve. You have to sign up because there's only room for 5 every month, but we serve at the local shelter. And we do mixers about every other month. We like to have an evening mixer where people can come together and enjoy a libation or some food and really have a good time connecting at those. We also have a number throughout the year of in-home socials that are member driven, so that a member can just say, I'd like to host Rotarians at my house and really get to know one another. And I find that very valuable. Um, in the summer, we book 100 seats at the Black Hills Playhouse, and we have a picnic out at the Playhouse, and then we see a show all together. And we also invite other clubs from the region to participate in that activity. And that is also a fundraiser. That's a fundraiser for Polio Plus. And we do a lighted holiday parade float, and it is so fun decorating the float and then getting in the vehicle and driving the float through the parade route and seeing all the people, and people really respond well as they see our Rotary float go by. We have an annual Christmas party that is great fun. We do a gift exchange. This year we had Christmas karaoke, and it was very, very fun. Uh, and of course, it's a time then that Rotarians can come with their spouse or their partner and participate with all of us, and we get to know their family a little bit better. There's a facility here in Rapid City called Storybook Island that we are sponsors of, and we volunteer there several times a year to greet guests and monitor different areas of the Storybook Island Park. And we also provide volunteers every single year for the Central States Fair and the stock show for all of South Dakota. And uh, those are great opportunities not only to work together as Rotarians, but also to meet the members of our community and identify ourselves as Rotarians and see if perhaps we can get some other people involved. Um,
So Jeff, you've hit us
yes,
with a plethora of
a
activity.
lot. We do a
A
lot
whole
here.
lot. It seems like a real hobnob of activity. So, who organizes these activities? Do you have a committee that actually helps put this together, and how do you get feedback? But before you even answer me, I also
Yes.
want to reach out to our audience and let them know that if you have any questions, we want this is to be participatory. Please put them in the Q&A, and we'll be sure to answer them. So, Jeff, if you don't mind, yeah, who plans this and organizes this?
So we do have a social activity and a social committee rather, and we like to meet about once a month. We have, of course, members approach us frequently and say, "Hey, I thought this would be a fun idea," and we talk that over and see if it's doable given the human resources that we have. We try to be very careful about not monopolizing our club members' times, but also give them enough activities to keep them engaged. And our club has about 95 members, with about 60 active that we see every Tuesday morning. Um,
Yeah, some
so,
of those questions have been asked. People are wondering what's the size of the club.
oh,
Um, and not only that, again, some of those activities involve, in the community. So have you been able to bring new members in through those activities?
I'm not sure that we could point directly to an activity that then inspired a member. Although, when I meet people in the community, often someone will say to me, "Oh, yes, I know you guys volunteer for Feeding South Dakota." So, the presence is noted, which I think is quite important. So that I think people seeing us out in the community doing fun things is something that brings people to our community. And we routinely have at least one guest every week, and we jibe them a little bit about joining. Often our speakers we try to encourage to join. So uh, I'm not sure I could point directly to an activity that
Okay.
brought them
So
in.
are members encouraged to bring guests to these
Always,
activities? Okay.
always,
And one of the
absolutely.
things that we've always encouraged in our club, I'm with the Rotary Club of Oak Park, River Forest in Illinois, uh, District 6450, the birthplace of Rotary, as we like to say. But one of the things that we encourage our interactors to do was to bring their parents, and
Sure.
involve their families. So when we do things like going to activities where we're helping with the food, for instance, packing and things like that, or the environmental stuff, we try to make it a whole family outing.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, it's kind of engaging. So you've a couple of other things that what else would you like to say? Um, are
You
all
know,
the activities equally successful, or do you pivot if an activity is not going the way you've planned?
we kind of do a postmortem in the committee, and if something seems to be waning, then we would perhaps end that and try to replace it with a different activity that might um, get some more engagement. The key for us is getting our members involved so that they stay engaged.
Okay, well, thank you. You've given us a whole lot, and it sounds like an exciting time at your club. So we're gonna then go to the next poll, and if you don't mind, Jeff, hang around, and we'll
Absolutely.
be wrapping up later with you. Thank you.
All right. Very good.
So I think it's time for the for us to look at the first polling question for this webinar? So do we have the question? Oh, I can pull it up myself here. All right, I am going to ask the question. So does your club need some new ways to engage members who may be in it for resume building or because the employer makes them? So it's a yes or no for our webinar members to look at. So do you have ways of new ways of engaging members who may be in it for, okay. Yes or no, or there's a third option. I don't know. I didn't see that in my prim. So there are three options there. And here we are. So 57% said yes. 29% said no. And 14% said I don't know. So we have a passing grade here. I'm judging real low, but that's a good thing. Now we will bring in our next panelist, Bobby Martinez. Bobby from Petite Festival Club, could you introduce yourself and say a few things before joining us with the topic of the day?
Thank you. I'm Bobby Martinez. I'm from District 5840, which is South and Central Texas. My home club is Poteet, Texas, which is the original or originator of the Poteet Strawberry Festival. We're well known for that, and that's our major fundraiser. And I am DGN, so I will be district governor of my little part of Texas in 2 years. Our district is 52,000 square miles, so I'm going to have my hands full.
It's quite a bit. So, can you tell us how you activate recruiters for your club?
Well, there's different ways of doing it. The main thing to remember is keeping things fun and not forgetting the power of thank you. When you have someone giving up their time, you want to make sure that they are thanked for their time and thanked for all the things that they do. Some of our clubs, what they do is have socials, which are really fun, but we have in my club, mainly we work with other city clubs on different projects. For instance, once a month, we have a large food distribution through our local food bank, and we'll have 300 to 400 families come through, and we all get together and distribute that food. So that's one way to be out there. And there's other ways that we can do to show our enthusiasm that we are proud of Rotary. When you go to any football game, football is king in Texas, wear a Rotary shirt. And when you're going anywhere, don't forget your Rotary pin. That generates so much enthusiasm, and that's a great way of getting more people to come in and be part of Rotary, either as a sponsor, as a volunteer, or even as a member. There are so many different things that you can do. There, we have different school events that we've joined and done. For instance, in the elementary school, our local elementary school, they have Reading with Heroes. They allow the men to come in, and we will read a book to our kindergarten, first, and second graders, because most of the teachers we have in our school district are women, and they are most of the kids also are coming from a single family home, and they do not have a positive male role model. So we go through and just provide that little bit of a presence to show that there's, you know, not just mom and their teacher in their life that matter to them. They are there are things that we need to do to be proud, to wear your shirt, attending other organizations and other things. Those are so many wonderful ways that we can actually tell our story. One of the good things that we have in our district, our Del Rio Club, which borders Mexico, Acuna, they will go through and almost monthly have some reason to go across and take things over to the children of Mexico, and even worked with an orphanage over there that needed things, um, shoes and clothes and things. And this particular orphanage, 16 out of the 40 kids in this orphanage were being sex trafficked. So every little thing that we can do will make a difference. You have a question for me?
So, well, yeah, maybe again, what's the size of your club
Uh, Our
and how many
club,
people are engaged in these activities?
good question. Our club totally is 34. We off and on will have about half engage in one particular thing or another. We also have about a quarterly run, 5K run, 1K walk. Uh, the Rotary will sponsor that, and the extra money that comes in is kind of like a fundraiser, but kind of like a social as well, because we make a little bit of money through the fees, but it's more of let's get Rotary out there, let's get people involved in doing things. What we enjoy doing is actually hosting some other nonprofits that were coming through. For instance, there was a nonprofit that rode their bikes 500 miles, and we were a stopping point. So they had to come in, and we furnished them water and things, and gave them the opportunity to rest a little bit, and they were able to socialize with us.
Okay. So that's, I was going to ask you if there are any clubs, neighboring clubs or other clubs in your district that you partner with, or if there are other groups in the community that you partner with to, again, with 34 members, it's always good to reach out. Is there,
Yes,
do
and
you have any
most of us.
association?
Oh, sorry, Eddie.
No, I'm saying, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. Poteet is a town of 3,380. It's very, very small. And because we are small and we do have this great big festival where we will bring in 120,000 people every year for our Strawberry Festival, we work with other clubs during the year because there are several of us that are in multiple clubs because we are from a small town. That even makes the bonds even more concrete. We are able to do and have different service projects that we reach out with to other groups and say, hey, this is what we have going on. Let's do this, or let's have this function in the city, or we're going to celebrate whatever, and we'll team up with a city and provide hot dogs or whatever to the kids. So there's so many different things that we can do to be out there. And the
Mm.
main thing is having it fun and not forgetting that one little thing, those two little words, thank you. There's so many of us that will work our
Excellent.
our
Yep.
exactly
Yeah,
work ourselves to death,
sure.
and it's all worthwhile for that one or those two little words. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the Q&A, and people are sending you congratulations on being a DGN. Um, your time is approaching, although
Yes,
the work starts before you get there and it continues after. So,
always.
congratulations again.
Thank you.
So we're gonna have probably more questions later for you, and I thank you for being a panelist. So. I am going
Thank
to
you.
go for our next poll. So thanks a lot, Bobby.
Thank you.
All right. So now we're going to bring on the next question. Are we ready? Here we are. So it is almost February. January is gone. uh, as you kick off 2025, do you feel like it is a good time to really assess member engagement and follow up with an action plan if needed? So that again is a yes, no, I don't know. So as you kick off this new year, do you feel like it is a good time to really assess member engagement and follow up with an action plan. We know that it in our Rotary year, we're just past middle. So, wonderful, wonderful. The answers are great. So 92% said yes, 3% said no, and 5% said that they do not know. That's very encouraging numbers. Yes, we do need to assess, see where we are, so you can put in some punch in and maybe apply some of the information you get to the rest of the year and make this 2024, 2025 year a successful year. We know we lose a few members at the turn of the, right about December into January, and then some also leave and end of June. But what you do now may help us retain those members. So thank you. Now bringing on our next panelist, Ken Seltzer. Ken is from the Leawood Rotary Club. That's out in Kansas. So Leawood, Kansas. Come on, Ken, tell us a few things about yourself.
Hey, thank you, Addie. My name is Ken Seltzer. I'm with the Leawood, Kansas Rotary Club, as you just heard. Been a member there since 2009. We have about 60 members in our club. I reached out to join Rotary because I saw an article in the paper about Rotary, and it gave a name. And I still give that guy some trouble who I reached out to, because he's still a member of our club, and just a really good relationship. I was president of our club from 2014 to 2015, and have received, as everybody on this group has received a number of awards. But one of them that I am the most proud of, and you won't be able to see this, so I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to say,
please
present it to Ken Seltzer for outstanding new member recruitment. Hey, how about that? For $10. You got a lot of good feedback, but I just want to say that we recognize people for their efforts on new member recruiting and for doing a lot of things like that. So
Ken, there's a saying that appreciation impels us to do even better.
That's right. That's right. And I want to share how I successfully do new member recruiting. Everybody has their own technique. Everybody needs to find the technique that works for them. I will share the one that works for me, and I think can work really well for some other people. So, Jeff Kingsbury mentioned just a second ago in his presentation that he likes to say, "I love Rotary." That attracts people to Rotary. I look for people who have a heart for service, and I'll give you 4 examples here in just a minute. But I'd like to also answer, since I'm from Kansas City, I got to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot in the news about Andy Reid right now. And one of the articles that came out this weekend after we won our game was, what's good about him is he doesn't judge. I don't judge anybody about whether or not they would make a good Rotarian, other than, do they have a heart for service? Excellent. Okay, how do you find people who have a heart for service? And they're all over the place. I'll give you 4 examples here. And it's all the stuff that we do as a club that has already been mentioned here that are just normal stuff a Rotary Club does. So how do you identify people? How do you get people to join in? Okay, here's the first of my example. Her name is Milka. A year ago, we had a food packing event, just like was described earlier. She was standing across the table from me, pouring rice into a plastic bag, and we were chatting away, and she was telling me about all the different things she's involved with. And I said, you know what? You ought to be a Rotarian. You have a heart for service. And that struck a chord with her. She is now a member. In about November of this past fall, 3 months ago, she joined Rotary, and she's coming tomorrow to our Rotary meeting. She's a great person. So another good example is our Rotary Club has a membership in the local chamber. And I heard earlier an example of using the chamber or teaming up with the chamber. We like to invite the young professionals out of the chamber group from our local city to come with us to events. That's exactly how Milka came. She was a member of the Leawood Chamber Young Professionals. So that's how she got acquainted with our club. They will be at our food packing event coming up this Saturday, a year later after our other one. If I don't get a new member out of that, I will be disappointed, because you can identify the people who enjoy being there. So the example I wanted to give you was I was standing in line for a chamber event, and the line was moving slowly. So I turned around and talked to the guy behind me, and he told me why he was here. I asked him, "Why are you here?" And he told me. The guy clearly had a heart for service. And guess what I said to him? "You sound like you have a heart for service. Why don't you come try our Rotary Club?" And wouldn't you know, he is an active member now for the last 2 years. I think it's pretty cool. A third example, I co-authored a book about 5 people, giving the stories of 5 different people who really had a tough time as they grew up. And they grew up to become contributing adults. And you know what? The co-author with me is in the club now. 2 members, 2 people that we wrote about is in our club now. It was easy to tell that they personally wanted to serve their fellow man and had a heart for service. Guess what the question was that I asked them? And they wanted to join because they knew that we were outwardly looking, trying to help people who may not be as fortunate as we are. Okay, so the fourth and final example I will give you, a gentleman who I go to church with. And, not many people get up at 7:30 in the morning to go to church every week like I do, but I do. And this other gentleman was there. It was real clear that he could make our 7:15 a.m. Rotary Club meetings. His kids were just graduating from college. So I said, I knew he was involved in a lot of things, a busy guy. I said, "You sound like you have a heart for service." And guess what? He came to our Rotary Club, and it looks like this was like 3 or 4 years ago, and it looks like he's going to be one of our officers in the forthcoming year. He's stuck. And so I looked down the list of people that I was able to attract, and it was all because I recognized that they had a heart for service. People appreciate that being recognized. People appreciate our short little service projects where there isn't a lingering ongoing involvement requirement. We swoop in, do some good work, and we swoop out, and people like that. Okay, I'll say one other thing about diversification here. So a lot of people think a 71-year-old guy can't possibly recruit a 20-something or 30-something. The very first example I gave you was a 27-year-old who wants to be in our club because I was able to share with her my enthusiasm for service. They loved it. Another lady that joined just a few months ago as well was a 37-year-old who is an executive director of a financial education not-for-profit. All of them, they look at where your heart is. They don't care about your age. They look at where your heart is and what you're going to do for the community and what they can do for the community through you. So I just want to share that. I'm really excited about it. It's a good way for me to recruit, and if I can help anybody else learn that technique, would love to do that.
Your excitement is infectious, and and not only that, you have an elevator speech. So that's one of those things that we always ask Rotarians to have. How do you say something about Rotary in very few words, just to get people to, and you have to ask people and find out, meet them where they are.
Right.
I didn't want to get too personal here, but I have a story where my cardiologist said my face might not look my age, but my heart does. And next time I see him, I'm going to say my heart says I love Rotary and service.
Good.
So that's wonderful. I want to encourage the panelists to keep an eye on the Q&A because they're just some wonderful questions here. So somebody was asking about your club. First of all, they heard about the KC Chiefs, so but where exactly is your club?
Where is the club? It's in Leawood, Kansas. It's a suburb in Kansas of the Kansas City metro area, tucked up right against the state line. So the southern part of the city, on the Kansas side, tucked up against the state line.
All right. Well, very excellent, excellent. Now, one of those things, Hearts of Service don't always have the funds for membership. Do any of your clubs have a way to handle people who would like to be a member to help with their community but can't afford the membership fee?
We have a service membership. If I could answer that, we have a
Go
service
ahead.
membership, and exactly for the people that you just described. A lot of younger people in their careers don't have the don't want to spend that kind of money for a regular membership. We let them join in a service membership, and we're just ramping that up now. But it's a great intersection of where people are financially, what they want to do, their heart for service, and something they can afford.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Ken. Please stay on. We're going to have a few questions to wrap up the webinar and might have some specific ones for you. So thank you very much. Really appreciate you being a panelist here. So we're going to go on to the next final poll question. Okay. Our final poll question. Have you been presented with either new ideas or old ideas that have not been tried in a while that you're willing to try? So here we have 4 selections. Picked up a few new tips. Reminded me of ways we haven't tried in a while. Both A and B, or none of the above. So please look at that. Have you been presented with either new ideas or old ideas? So let's see. Wow. Okay. And the results are in. 29% have picked up a few new tips. 17% have been reminded of ways we haven't tried in a while. 46% said both A and B, and none of the above. Now, I'll tell you, if you bring in new members, you might get some fresh new tips. So, well, thank you. Well, our panelists this evening is Mark Ellsworth from the Rotary Club of Omaha West. So, welcome, Mark. Nice to have you here. Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, the size of your club? And
thank you, Adi.
yes,
Yeah, I'm in
thank
Omaha, Nebraska tonight. We're at 17 degrees, and we have less snow on the ground than they do in New Orleans, Louisiana, because we have none. So it's a crazy winter, but it's been exceptionally cold here the last few days, but it's supposed to start warming up tomorrow. I also wanted to mention to Keith that Omaha is also Kansas City Chiefs territory, so we're right there with you. Yes, I'm in the Omaha West Rotary Club. It's District 5650, and my club has 110 members approximately. And I joined the club in 2016. I have been the club treasurer. I'll be starting my 6th year. And I have served on our membership recruitment committee, either as a member, chairman, or co-chairman for 5 years now. And I'm excited to talk to you tonight. I'm going to take a little different twist. In 2023, March of 2023, we brought in facilitators from our district that led us through a visioning process. And if your club hasn't ever done that, I strongly recommend it. They were a great help to us. And so we're 2 years out. We're still working on some of the stuff that came out of that visioning process. And one of the things was we've had a lot of success recruiting. We are a little disappointed with our retention. And so we want to attack that. And that was one of the objectives that came out of that visioning process. I want to talk to you a little bit about 3 things that we're really working on right now. And some of them said engaging activities outside of meetings and fundraisers. One of the earlier panelists also mentioned that there was a little fundraising involved. And a lot of times you get that, you have something, so there may be a little fundraising tilt to some of these, but so as part of that engagement, we wanted to do just what you were talking about tonight, is get some of our members who hadn't been showing up at meetings. We want to get them more engaged. We want to find activities that they can relate to, and that will bring them in. So one of the first things we did, not one of the first things, one of the recent things that we did, started last November, is we started what we call an extension meeting. Our regular club meeting is every Friday at noon. And so what we have done now is we've created a second meeting. It's called our extension meeting, and we hold it on the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month at 5:30. Intentionally, we wanted it to be different than our regular Friday meeting. So it is less formal. There's no meal served. So there's really no cost to a member that wants to come to the meeting. And that, I think that's important, because we, a couple of years ago, started a young professionals recruitment effort, and they have discounted dues. And a lot of times when you look, or for our club anyway, can't speak for everyone, sometimes the spend for a member during the year is a lot more around meals than it is around dues. And so this gave us an option to maybe hang on to some of those younger members, or people who just financially didn't want to incur the cost of a meal every Friday. So our new meeting, by design, has more time for fellowship, and we want to accommodate. It also accommodates members who have trouble getting to those Friday meetings. Not that they choose to not be there; it's just because of their work schedule or whatever, they've been unable to make it. So they can make up a meeting at one of our extension meetings. This is still very much a work in progress, but one of the things that they wanted to be very involved in at the extension meeting is service projects. So they're going to be doing, it's going to emanate from that extension meeting, a project in February, and that is Food Bank for the Heartland here in Omaha is always looking for volunteers, as are a lot of organizations, but everyone knows that, not that it didn't, some didn't exist before the pandemic, but since the pandemic, food insecurity is a terrible problem. And so we're just, I think, going in and helping them distribute food, basically. So that'll be their first project. So I'm really excited to see how that extension meeting develops, because it's still got, like I said, we kind of started with a blank sheet of paper, and we're still kind of filling it out. So we want to make sure that club is tied back to our regular club. And so, because it could well be that we may have people joining and only attending extension club meetings because they like the idea of not having a meeting every week, or they may like the idea of being involved in the service but not having the financial commitment of having to pay for a meal every week. So a lot of reasons why that could be. So yeah, the club will definitely have a service orientation. Okay. The second thing that we're dealing with on retention that we're dealing with, that was an objective coming out of our visioning process, was we wanted to create what we called pods. In other words, we have a fairly large club, 110 members. So how do we identify people that have common interests, and if we could get them together and be able to share that would be a bonding thing that would really help our retention. So we are in the process. In fact, I have a meeting tomorrow about this. We are creating a Rotary fan club. Here in Omaha, we have the AAA baseball team for the Kansas City Royals, and they're the Omaha Storm Chasers. Their general manager is a member of our club. And so I floated an idea at a meeting that maybe we could create a package where we would have a couple ball games at our Werner Park where the Storm Chasers play, and possibly even a motor coach overnight trip to Kansas City to take in a Royals game, and then maybe do some other activities. I had a phenomenal response, and we reached out to another club here in Omaha to see if they would want to join with us in that endeavor, and they had interest too. So one of our goals was to get enough people involved so that we could have a suite at the ballpark for that night. And the great thing about that is you have the indoor air conditioned suite, but you also have the outside. They have seating for the that's part of that suite package. And in Omaha here, it gets pretty hot in the summer. So for some people who aren't avid baseball fans, they'll enjoy just the fellowship that will take place inside the suite.
So Mark, we're getting very close to, and you've thrown a lot at us. And some of the things that have come out with others panelists too, the ideas of, service membership. You talked about a fan-based membership, that sort of thing. And people are wondering, are service memberships, for instance, recognized by Rotary? Well, we do Rotary recognize course-based clubs or memberships, but you still have to be a dues paying member to be recognized by Rotary. But these are ways that you can build and bring people on to membership. Again, get them involved, show them the Rotary way, and then eventually they can become members of your club, or they can start their own club. And it doesn't have to be a Rotary club; could be a Rotaract club. There are so many different ways now that membership can be created, but a lot of it comes from going after volunteers, reaching out there and letting people know what this wonderful thing we call Rotary is about. How we serve not only our community but the world.
Following up on that, Adi, Rotary also does have the concept of the community core.
Yes,
we have that a little bit with the readers program we have at Adopt a School, where about half of the group that does that are members of our club and half of them are not. And a lot of them are retired school teachers. So I mean, there are ways that you can develop a community core that's directed toward people who want service only.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to bring the panelists back. I don't know if you've been checking up on the Q&A. If there's a specific question that you saw in the Q&A that you want to respond to, here's your chance. If not, I have a question for all of you. So who wants to go? Ken, there was, the issue of the service membership came because of you. Do you want to respond to that?
And I don't see the question readily, but our service membership is new in our club. We started that about a year ago, maybe even less than a year ago. And it's a skinny version. I think in total, instead of $1,000 a year of dues that includes your breakfast, it's about maybe 150 a year.
So those are members.
Yes,
so they are recognized by Rotary.
That's right.
Okay, that was the question.
And I'll tell you that fee, whatever fee we charge them of 150 to 200 is the fee that goes to Rotary International for every member.
Okay. Well, before we wrap up here, I have a couple of questions for you guys. Or unless somebody else wants to add to that, have a specific question that is on the Q&A that they would like to respond.
I do. I want to answer a question.
Please.
From Jane. Oops, I lost it. But she was asking if our members from the regular club participate in the project that our extension, that's not an extension club, but that's emanating from our extension meeting. And the answer to that is yes. Everyone is invited to participate in it.
Okay. Anybody else? Bobby, did you have something?
I've got an answer for Valerie. She's asking, what do y'all do for new member packets and shirts? We do give out just the new member packet from RI, or actually the from well, not from RI, but Russell Hampton. There you go.
Okay.
But we have polo shirts, and we have T-shirts for our work days. I know it's informal because she did mention that T-shirts were informal. We do have T-shirts, but those are for work days. You don't want to be out with a nice polo shirt when you're digging holes or doing something the manual labor. It's good to have something to brag on that you're Rotary, that you are Rotary, and show off pretty much.
Well, anybody else? Well, you definitely have given us a lot of ideas on, uh, planning and engaging activities beyond just our meetings and fundraisers. There's been so much tonight. We really appreciate it. Obviously, at the end, we're going to have what we call a call to action. There will be a poll that PDG Snyder is going to give us, walk us through to set us up for the next webinar. And for those of you who joined us today, as this is going around the world, we would like to see you again, and not only do we want to see you next month. This is monthly. We'd like to you invite others, invite people from your club, or invite those people who are not Rotarians, who may be able to just join and get a little snippet of it, of what it is that we do. So I think we have a few more minutes here, and I wanted to ask you, each of you, just real quickly, if you could give one piece of advice to clubs looking to plan more engaging activities, what would it be? Just one advice, little advice.
Keeping it fun.
It looks like Jeff. Jeff, go ahead.
I would say engage the members of your club and encourage them to propose activities so that there's buy-in already, and that if you decide to take up that activity, they will necessarily want to be a part of it.
All right. Looks like Ken wants to jump in.
I like that comment, Jeff, and I also like the concept of always inviting some other organization to join you in a project. That's how you meet more people. That's how you get involved. That's how you can find other people outside the club who have hearts of service.
That
Absolutely.
was a big part of our year, right, Mindy? Reach, and Rotary comes with so much, and that you can bring to others and extend our reach. All right. So, Bobby, did you have something you wanted to add to that, or
I just want to expound on what Ken said. It is so invaluable to reach out to other organizations in the community.
Yeah.
When they have a service project,
okay.
why not invite yourselves and say, "Hey, we want to help. This is our community too. Let's be a team on this, and let's get it done."
I love that.
Well,
That's a good
thank
idea.
you all. I need to get Mindy in now to give us that poll.
Yay, Mindy.
Thank you. Yes,
Thank you, Val.
thank
Thank you all.
very much. Thank you, Addie, and thank you to each of you. Y'all's enthusiasm was infectious. I think everybody surely took away tips. I was writing notes like crazy. So I'm glad it's recorded so I can go back again and listen to it and share wonderful thoughts. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your wonderful enthusiasm for Rotary. And Addie, what a wonderful job as well. So just as a reminder, our next month's webinar in February is going to be on February 18th. And it is the value of the club membership committee learning plan. So how do we get people on board to execute these wonderful ideas that we've had here? Membership is not a one person, job. It is everybody's job. Everybody has to just, exude the enthusiasm like all of these gentlemen have tonight. So please join us for that on February 18th. And as our call to action for tonight, we're going to ask you, have you now planned an engaging activity that's not your club meeting or fundraising, something outside of that? You had a lot of wonderful examples here tonight. Hopefully your wheels are turning and you're thinking about that. And we will ask next month about, what have you planned? So please prepare for that and have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful month. Continue to love Rotary, as we hope you have all seen tonight that these gentlemen certainly do, and all of us do. So thank you for joining us. Farewell.
Thank you. Thank you all.